Yep, yep. So we also have Anant Kumar today. Hi, Anant. It's been a long time. We
Yeah.
actually saw. Okay, so Ayaz, I'll actually tell you what is it about, like why are we doing this now that you're new to the community, right? So every week we have a community meet where we take a topic and we discuss your experience and learning on that particular topic, right? But what makes it worth attending is, you can hear the takeaways from the different people of different experience, right? If you're talking about the same topic with a range of experience from 1 to 18 or 20 plus people, then the takeaways that you're going to have, the learnings that you're going to have is definitely going to be different, right? And we also have Naeem and Aman. So can you guys unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us? And then I think we can get down into the topic. Um, so Aman, yeah. Aman, can you hear us? Aman? Aman, I think we are not able to hear you if you're like trying to speak. I think you have to reconnect to your audio. Yeah. And till then, I think we can go for Naeem. Hi, Naeem, can you hear us? Yeah, I'm not able to hear any of you guys. Guys, try to connect your audio again so that we could
Yeah,
if you
you
guys
are
are trying.
audible perfectly fine. But I guess from Amrut's side there is some noise.
I'm sorry.
You are
Okay.
audible. That's what I'm saying. Like anyone is not.
Okay. 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 And we also have Rajiv here. Hi, Rajiv. Can you hear us?
Hey, I have some. Yes, I can.
Yeah, hi. So Rajiv, can you turn on your camera and introduce yourself to us? Oh, okay. So we already know Rajiv. Sorry, I thought there are a lot of Rajivs in the community. Okay. Rajiv, can you introduce yourself to the people who are, listening to you for the first time?
Yeah, sure, sure. So, as of said, I'm Rajiv. So basically, I am working since like for 3 years, and mainly I work in the front end. Basically, most of the time with React, but I have also worked with other stuff as well, like JS and some Angular stuff as well. And apart from that, I also work on backends. So that's my technical stuff. And
Yes.
for personal side, I used to play footballs most of the time, but nowadays only working. Like most of the time goes in tech stuff. So yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah. So before we dive into the discussion of today's guys, we have a new joiners today. So Saurabh, we have Sandy, Ayaz, and Mohit. Mohit, so Sandy, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us? Can you please
Yeah,
turn on
hi.
your camera?
Camera I can turn on right now,
Okay.
but yeah, also I'm not a new joiner, if you remember me.
Acha, you're the Sandy Singh.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So Sandy, can you introduce yourself to the people who are hearing you for the first time?
Yeah, so I'm Sandy. I work as a software developer in Expedia. I have around 4.5 years of experience, and yeah, I'm in Bangalore. Other than that, like football and playing games. That's all.
Yes. We're very glad to have you guys today. And one more thing, if you guys can turn on your camera, it will be more interactive session because this is a community meet. If you are just traveling or anywhere in the middle in the middle of a meeting, I understand. But otherwise, if you can turn on a camera like Naeem, Saurabh, and Ayaz, yeah, it would be really great to in fact looking at each other, right? And Saurabh, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
Can you introduce yourself to us?
yeah. So I'm Saurabh, basically from Bihar. So I have 1 year of experience in front end development. From last 1 years, I am doing freelancing with my senior college guys. So I have been working on React Native, That's all.
Okay, if you can turn on your camera, Saurabh, we'd be really glad to see you. But otherwise, if you're in the middle of anything, we get that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm like in dark. So
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Okay, so we are left with Naeem. Hi, Naeem. Thank you for turning on your camera. And can you introduce yourself to us? Just what you do and.
My name is Naeem.
Naeem, I guess you're having some issue with your microphone.
Give me 2
Not
minutes.
able
I
to.
will join with my computer.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. Okay, guys. For the people who are joining us for the first time, Saurabh, when I asked, right, I think I kind of mentioned what is it about. This is a community meet where every week, once on Friday, or Thursday, we actually connect with other developers in the community and we discuss on any particular tech topic which is developer centric, right? And this is also a way for you guys to connect with each other, find your mentor over here, and you can also find your collaborations. You can also learn a lot. You can connect with these people. So it's also a networking session and also a discussion point. And today's topic is all about the projects that you've been worked on, that you have been working on, and how was your experience? What were the learnings that you had from the projects that you worked, and also the major issue that most of us face is meeting the deadlines of the project, right? So we're going to cover on everything that relates to how we could start and have an effective delivery of a project, including meeting the deadlines. So let's start with Ayaz. So Ayaz, I would like to know, in your 4 years of experience, what were the major projects that you actually worked on that are helped you or helped your learning curve grow exponentially? And
Yeah.
what were the learnings, opportunities, and the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome that?
So from last I can say 2 years, I have been experimenting with the React, and I have made almost 2 3 projects about it. And the first project was like from a for a search engine for movies, you can say. And I used the React.js, and there is one API called the MovieDB. So I used both of them to just make a website so that people can search movies in there and just get the info about the movie. Okay, and getting data from the API to the user. Okay, and next I worked on there was one project by the name AI Utilities. So I have created one project by the name AI Utilities, and in that I have used the OpenAI GPT-3 API to just make the different text and code utilities. Okay, I have just pinged the live URL of it. You guys can check it out. Okay, and it is also live currently. I have bought a domain name for that and just made it live. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Well, that's amazing, Ayaz. And what were your learnings and what were your challenges that you actually faced in a project like this?
Yeah, so the most challenging part was figuring out how to get data from the API and display it to the user. The first major challenge was that only, because I had to learn Axios and fetch request to how to do that. So that was the most challenging part. But after that, when I came to know, I when I was comfortable with Axios and fetch request, I was able to make the project. Yeah.
And do you think, Ayaz, with your team, is it the same? Yeah, so I was saying with your team, mostly the projects actually hardly like work with individual developer, right? But you actually work with the team. So, as a team, while you're working on a project like this, where you're also facing some issues with your, you figuring out your own APIs and all of that, right? So, any team constraints that you actually faced, and how did your team work? Because when you're working in group, you have to work
Yeah.
effectively so that each and everyone's speed, contributes to the project, right? And even if one person is delaying back or is getting back, the whole team effort is going to go in vain. So what are your thoughts on that, and how could anyone ensure that his
So
team can deliver
actually,
the right projects?
in Wipro, since I'm working in Wipro, so in Wipro the tech stack is completely different. It's not about React actually. So all these learnings are self-learn things only. I have not worked with a React team, the a team which is based on like React.js, but most of the things were individual only. I have not worked with a team on the React.js part, but other part like in Wipro, I have worked with there are like junior members to me also, and I have gave them KT about the Ab Initio ETL tool, and yeah, that's about it. But I have no experience in working with a team on a React project. Okay, so all of the things are individual.
So how about the meeting the deadlines? Do you actually meet the deadlines at the right time, or
Yeah.
do you have to fast forward your work to the last 2 days of it, or how is it from your
My
end?
habit is like doing the work at the last part of the when the deadline is about to come. But yeah, I was able to meet the deadline, but like it was I have missed it sometimes
Yeah.
because sometimes like the to figure out the requirement, I have to take time and just figure out like what data customer wants, and since it's a data profile, so that is why I have to just figure it out like what is the correct requirement about the client, and what type of format the data they want, and different things.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's amazing, Ayaz. So if you have to, jot down your learning in 2 to 3 takeaways from the whole experience that you had on working on a projects like this, or anything in general, be it your team learning or your individual learning, what would be the 2 to 3 takeaways that you could suggest or give to any people who are working with the projects?
Takeaways can be like documenting whatever you are doing. Like one thing I got to know that if I document the stuff which I am doing and make my own like notes or something, documentation you can say, that is very helpful. And reading the official documentation of the projects like React documentation really helps. It explains like how the functionality of whole React works. And yeah, YouTube is also there, so we can learn from there. And one more takeaway is that we can use AI to get like answers for different things. Like ChatGPT is the new thing here, so I have used multiple times ChatGPT to get some info about the things which I don't know. So yeah.
Sorry to
I
interrupt you.
think,
I will be gone for 5 to 15 minutes. I will be back.
yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I was saying, I think documentation has been something that has been the major point of our discussions in all the community meetups that we ever had. And I cannot stress enough on how important it is, be it, being delivering a productive code, or having, having effectively, going and meeting the deadlines, or if you're working on a project. So I think documentation literally helps you to just almost everything that a developer could
Yeah.
ever see, that if he's facing any challenge, I think documentation is a way to go. Yeah, that's pretty much. And thank you so much, Ayaz. That was really great
Thank you.
hearing your experience. Yeah. And yes, Rajiv. So, Rajiv, can you share with us your experience on the projects? Any one major project that, if you look back on your experience, that one major project that really helped you to transform your state as a developer, including the learning and growth, and what was that, and what were the major problem you were solving in a project like that? So, yeah.
Oh, Okay, so like there was a lot of things in the question. So first, like I'll take one project for reference. So basically, I did last year in the November, December. So like we needed to release it as soon as possible. So actually, that requirement that was is quite complicated. So for deciding the initially, I didn't have any idea like what could be the deadline or when we can deliver it. But the thing is, for deciding delivery date or like the end date, you have to figure out what problems you're gonna tackle, like what you actually need to do, and then you have to break those things into small chunks. Cause like if you have to build a Burj Khalifa, for example, you'll like you can't estimate the time of building whole building, right? First, you have to estimate the time of getting the requirements or like papers work done, and then you have to get the materials and all those things
Yeah.
you have to figure out that thing, and then you have to build the base and then the first floor, second floor. So the thing is, you have to break it so that you can figure out or like you can categorize all those problems into small chunks, and then we can estimate it pretty well. And so that was the one thing which I did, like I used, and that was pretty fruitful for me. And it was like it saved me a lot of time as
Yeah.
well, because sometimes like, first, and you have given and while breaking down the problem, you have figured out 8 problems. Okay, and now for those 8 problems, you have defined a timeline, and then you go to a meeting with your team, and then you put all your thoughts and all your planning with the all 8 problems and their timelines, and okay, say okay, these are the problems, and each problem is gonna take this much of time, right?
Yeah.
And maybe not saying always, but maybe on like of those 8 problems, maybe it's not that required at that time. Okay, even the team, even the company don't want that, or they miss part. So even they figure out, or like they will point to, "Okay, this is not needed. This is not needed. We can remove it." Or like
Yeah.
even someone has worked on it, they can add their expertise on that specific problem. So it's just about breaking down the problem.
Yep. Yep.
And the second thing, as Ayaz said, is the
Rajiv,
which
actually, your
is
video
actually
and
even
audio is kind of like stuck. I think your video is kind of stuck in between.
hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
I think it's still stuck.
sorry, I'll rejoin. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Oh, yeah. So, hi, Amanta. How are you doing? Yeah, you're on mute.
Very good.
Your voice is not that audible.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, 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 we can hear you. So
I was
Ananta,
saying,
so
how are you guys? I was just saying, okay.
yeah, it's been really long time, but I see you active in the community and helping people with their queries, which is something that we really appreciate. And so you know the drill, Ananta, and we are discussing about the topic on the projects, right? And I would like to know what is one major project in your whole experience that helped you grow exponentially, made any major problem you're solving. So, do you think any project that you're working on, should you choose the impact that you're giving on the project, or should you choose the experience that you're getting while you're working on a project like that? So, what's your take on that?
So whenever you're starting a project, right, you obviously get both of them for sure. But it depends upon the kind of project you choose, which adds on to whether you're gaining more experience or more impact or goal related kind of a project, right? It always depends on that. Uh, so when one of the project, right, when previously I did an open source project on UI. I was like most of the people like who have spoken till now, and in the intros also, as I heard, they're all React developers, most of them. So even I am one of them. I do React development. When couple of years ago, I did an open source project, but that was not with respect to React. So I joined that open source as a individual member, but it was a group of already 5-6 people who wanted a UI guy. Like, so I joined there, and they said we want a UI guy. I thought, okay, let's use React, let's do it. But when I joined the team, they said like, we want a UI guy, but not in React. We want someone to use Django. So it's something which I was not aware of. Even though UI principles are same, when you are using a different framework and different language altogether, it obviously is a challenging thing. So that was very interesting. Even though like I was confident on my UI skills, I was not confident on this framework. So I had to like learn about the whole framework in a week or so and start creating it. So it was basically for a face attendance kind of a system. It used like the application was to look at your, capture your face and match with the database and see register your attendance for the day. So maybe you can implement it in a college or in the office or something like that. So it was kind of that kind of a project. So this is one thing, right? And always when it's come to experience, each time you do a project, it doesn't matter how many projects you're doing it, if you're using the same technique to do it. So for example, say you're creating a dialog box, a simple dialog box. So if you're a beginner who is just starting to learn front-end development and you know only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, how would you do it? You would create a blank screen, add a div inside it, make the parent div as transparent or something like that, and you will hard code everything. But if you're a React developer, maybe you'll use some external library like a Bootstrap or a Material UI. Now this is what a beginner does, but even after 4 years, if you use the same technique, it's not right. Correct.
Yeah.
So there are many ways you can do this with React. For example, say you can use React portals. You can use a wrapper class. You can use a higher order component to create a dialog box anywhere. So exploring different patterns is what important in React, especially. And React is very, even though it's there for almost 10 years now, it's a very evolving technology. Each time they make a new release, there are a set of things they're introducing, which are so awesome that you don't want to work on the world principles. When we had class-based components, everyone was like, okay, you have to use that because functional components are of no use because you cannot do all this state and stuff like that. Now, when the hooks were introduced, people started ignoring the class-based totally. And nowadays, like you ask any React programmer, like if someone is starting to learn React in 2023, they may not even start learning class-based components. That has been the case. For example, whoever is like React developer, they are definitely aware of called use effect hook, and it is something we use at least once a day because it's like one of the basic hooks that we have. But if you see the React 18 version, which has come out recently, the behavior of use effect has been changed, modified actually. So which is actually having a different kind of performance effect. And there are many conferences that are happening throughout the world in JS world, where you can see many talks where people come and say you should not use effect at all. It's a very bad for your performance or something, or anything that you can do using use effect can be done without it. So these are the things like which become very challenging. Say if you're working on a legacy project, these things definitely won't matter. But if you're a guy who is a freelancer, or if you're a guy who is changing companies every 6 months or 1 year, or someone who takes up new projects every now and then, you definitely have to be updated with the latest principles. This is where making own projects individually helps you, because you will be confident with the latest changes that are coming in the technology world. That is what my expectations are with projects. So that is what I do. Like if I am taking up a new project on myself, which I want to do, I want to do it in a way which I have not done before. So it may be a simple to-do list app, but I don't want to do it the same way everyone does it. So that's the goal, right?
So Ananta, now that you're also, touching upon the facts that, how important it is to, stay updated when you're working on any certain project in terms of technology or in terms of what is going to come forward, right? So what would you recommend for people now that you mostly worked under React and also the UI part? So, what are your ways to be in touch with the upcoming technologies, and how could one be, aware of it, and how could one just, start implementing the new technologies? So, yeah.
Um, so one of the I do not have many ways because nowadays what has happened is you get content creation. If you see content creation in general, people do it only for the simple things. So for example, you'll find 100 of videos which say React.js for beginners, learn React.js in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you'll hardly find videos which say like React.js for intermediate people, React.js for experienced guys. So
Yes.
it's not only with React.js, it's with every technology. What happens is people think you just need a push. After that, you are well enough knowledge to do your own research and learn things. So that's true as well, right? So what I do is I have subscribed to a couple of React.js newsletters. What happens in that newsletters is, what happens is they send you a very good summary of articles throughout, which are published around the world. You can just read the headline of that, and you know by the headline like whether it's a new thing or only something which is you're not aware of. So you can click on that and read. I do this
Yes.
every week. And also there are a couple of YouTube channels related to so just like all these concerts and political conferences that happen. There are conferences for JavaScript as well. For example, one of them is JS config. I even recently shared the one of the link in the group recently about how the React JS evolved. It's a 1 hour video. If I think everyone in this group should definitely watch it. It's totally worth it. So these are the channels which I follow because these conferences happen every 6 months or 3 months around the world, and they are best part of the conferences are recorded and added in the YouTube. So yeah, I'll try to reshare them again in the group for the people.
Yeah. Yep. So Ananta, what do you think are the major challenges that you faced, or in general the team that you worked with, or the people you talk to day in and out, they usually face while working on a project? Is it the contribution on the project, or is it the deadline that they actually made it really with the less time because not having a realistic deadlines, or maybe the team project and the productivity at the end of the day is kind of getting hampered when you're working with a bunch of people? So what are the major challenges do you feel that you usually face while working in the projects?
Um, so usually you face issues with deadlines or something when you estimate wrong. So this is something which everyone says, right? So what I mean, this is what even all like most of the companies follow something called agile process and Scrum process, what we call. And what is it? Basically, it's like you set a time period of number of days, and within that time period, how much can you achieve? So this is what usually happens. But what happens is when we are estimating at the beginning of a sprint, we overestimate it or we underestimate it.
Yeah.
Say for example, I want to revamp up existing page or something. So the team decides, okay, this is only for 3 points. You cannot say it's 5 points or 6 points or only 2 points unless you have done some research previously. This is something which I try to do it, but sometimes I do miss it. So before of any particular meeting or before I talk to someone about a particular estimation, I try to do a little bit of background work to see how much work is there to do it, something like that. So if you're an experienced guy, if you're working on a project for a long time, maybe some topics you can guess it very clearly, but that is what it is. Doing before speaking to someone and accepting the deadlines, if you have done your research, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. I think deadlines is something that usually everyone faces, no matter how effective your team. gives the work at the end of the day. And it's really right that we either overestimate or underestimate, right, when it comes to the projects. And if you're just working on an open project by yourself, you're going to operate differently when compared to the times that you're working with your team. Right. And as a developer, that's really important that you align with your team, and also the team aligns with your productivity and how you are together working at the end of the day of delivering a project. So Ananta, any 2 to 3 key takeaways from your learning from the projects that you would recommend, or whatever learnings that you had that will really help you to like be a better developer? So what would that be from a projects like this? Or what would you recommend, let's say, if someone is working on a project, let's say React or any UI-based project that you worked on, what would be your learnings from that? That if you could advise someone on the projects.
So when you're doing project, right, basically you have to be clear on what is a goal. Why are you doing that project? Is it just you want to practice some skills for an interview, upcoming interview, or is it something you want to showcase to someone, or is it for a learning experience? So if it is say for a learning experience, I recommend you to do it everything differently. Say you're a person who used to use only Bootstrap before, try to use Material UI. If you're a person who used to use Axios for fetching the data, try using React Query. Something like this. So there are a lot of alternatives available in the market, and different companies use a different set of tools. Try to do that. Is what I try to say. And each time you do a project, try to level up the complexity or the whole functionality of the project.
So Ananta, do you have any last question? Do you have any platforms or resources that could help people to get started with their projects? That any open source projects that they could contribute, or any platform that can help you to contribute or build your own project? Any resources on that?
So I'm not I used to do open source, and it's been like more than a year now, or one and a half year. There are a lot of communities where you can do it. And if you have a tech community of group of friends, the hackathon is something you can definitely try it out. But if you're a solo developer, then I think try out some. So there are a lot of tutorials. Say you're a very beginner and you're not sure how to get started at all. What I recommend is take a YouTube video, try to follow the tutorial once maybe. Once you do that, there is this website called Dribbble. What you can do is you can go there and search for anything. Say for example, you have seen a tutorial and made a simple weather app. Okay, so once you are done the weather app, seeing a tutorial, you have done what exactly the same way the YouTube creator has done it. Now go to Dribbble, search for a weather app. There you get hundreds of designs. Now pick a design which seems more complicated than what you have done. Now you have an idea. Now you have an idea of how to fetch a weather information. Now you have a idea of how to convert the fetched information into data to show it on the screen. Now you take a new design and try to implement it with additional features. Say for example, you're trying to do simple to-do list. So what is this? You just have an input field, and as soon as you enter, you just show it. That can be very simple. And these kind of videos, you'll get it everywhere in the YouTube. What you can do upon that? Maybe you can have a edit functionality. Maybe you can have a say for example, delete functionality. Maybe you can store it to the local storage. Maybe you can put a dummy authentication login. Maybe something like a different kind of grouping categories of to-do list you can do. So the thinking of possibility are endless, right? So yeah, so that's what. If you're comfortable to do list, maybe try making an alarm clock. Maybe try making, if you have seen a video of stopwatch, try to do an alarm clock. So this is what I'm trying. Take an idea. Once you've done it, improve upon it. If you're a beginner, but if you're an experienced guy, try to do things differently.
Yep. Well, that is amazing, and I think it could not be said in any better way than what you did. And thank you so much, Ananta. And yeah, I think we kind of paused when Rajiv was explaining something. Yes, Rajiv. Yeah, your video is working properly right now.
Yeah,
I think you were
well,
giving some reference saying Ayaz told something, and that was a point.
yeah, it's about our documentation part. So basically, even if you are the single person who is working on a feature or any, you can say project or mini project, documentation is more like most important, I would say, because like one day you are working, you have the plan, you have all the things working, and all these things are in your mind. And 2 days, after 3 days, 4 days, maybe you'll not remember one thing, and after a week
Mhm.
you'll not remember the second thing, and maybe after a month you'll even don't recall a single thing.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. So that's why documentation is very important for yourself and for other team members as well, like fellow coders as well. So that is pretty important for us. And for delivery perspective, there's one more thing which I noticed since I started working is that from the like in initial time of any project, we all become very lazy. So like we think, okay, we have a lot of time, okay, we can try this, we can try this, okay, let's try this. So this happens a lot in initial phase of any project actually. This is what I have noticed. So it also like initially it feels good, but then gradually it sometimes create a chaos,
Yeah.
which is something which we should avoid. And the other thing is which I notice is the perfection. So we
Hmm.
aim to achieve perfection, and uh, to that, like to achieve that, we intend to like waste most of the time which we could have like build something else or like deliver something else. So
Yeah.
end up losing most of the time in achieving perfection, which is not practical, I would say. Because okay, so there is a page, for example, there is a page which is already is okay, it's loading in 2 seconds, 3 seconds, it's good. But if like you have achieved 80% of its performance, and then achieving for going to 100% is not that much practical, because 80% is also good. So instead of going to 100 from 80 is not practical, as like you could have built another feature in that time. So that is also uh, I would say factor which delays in delivery.
Yeah. But Rajiv, do you think what if people are trying to push through the 80% to achieve 100%? So there's a clash of ideas here. Do you think you should not chase for perfection, or should you just like, push it as much as you can and then, start the next step? Because chasing for perfection also comes under the line that you're giving the best version or the best way you could present at the end of the day, right? But if there's still if there's still a percentage that you could push further to get the best work out there on the table at the end of the day, should developers not chase it? What do you think about that?
That's a good question, but I would say that's a totally subjective part. So it depends on what you want. So like, are you aiming for perfection or picture perfect user behavior, or like I would say user onboarding? Like it totally depends on what you want. You wanna build multiple like 10 features as soon as possible, like keeping 80% of the performance, or you wanna build 5 features, creating 100% of the performance. Because you can choose only one of the two, like either one. You can't have both, because if you wanna build perfection, we all know that takes a time.
Yeah.
So depends on what you want and what you wanna devote your time to. So that's
Yeah.
all. Also, I would not say like, okay, let's only chase one. It's a kind of balance between these two.
Mhm.
So if like, so even if I continue the performance thing, so if it is okay, like you are able to, suppose you are able to sign in, and you are able to fill a form, and it is giving nice behavior, there is nothing major happening on that, so it's good, instead of creating like completely smooth experience and other things, I would say. So it
Yeah.
all depends on what you want and how you are managing between these two things.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I think that was really smartly put together. Rajiv, last question, and what would be your takeaways and learnings? I mean, I think you kind of like told when it comes to the documentation part and setting the deadlines and other stuff, right? But if you have to recommend anything else that you majorly learned, what would that be?
First thing is the breaking your problems. Like the more problems you break down, the easier it will get for you to resolve or build something. First thing is that, but yeah, you have to make sure you don't get or like don't spend much time enough time into just breaking the problems and not working on them. So it is
Yeah,
also heavier. So
yeah,
first, second is as I told documentation, and one more thing is the discussion. So like even if you are only 2 people, 3 people working on that, so try to discuss your ideas on weekdays. Like so that discussion is also important because like obviously even we are discussing something. I am learning something from Aya, something from Ananta, so Naimi. So it's like I'm sharing something, someone is sharing something. So it's like we are learning from each other. So that same thing happens in tech team as well. So that is also important.
yeah, yeah. I think Ananta raised his hand.
Yeah. So I just remembered a small point when Rajiv was saying about performance, right? So if you're doing an individual project, I think it's your personal preference. I agree with Rajiv completely. But when it comes to companies, the way performance is measured is totally different. Say, for example, it all depends upon your data. You have a fixed result of data, then you can manage your performance in the front end itself. Say you're making a stock market related, you're displaying the prices of all the stocks in a table. Now you cannot manage the search in the front end because say the user searches for stock ITC, for example. Uh, you cannot just filter out the results from the results already you have in the front end. What you need to do is you need to go back to your backend and fetch the new results from there with whatever the string that user has passed, because you want to always fetch the latest results. So this was one of the requirement in my previous companies, right? Where we were working on something like index ETFs. There's something like mutual funds, I can say. Uh, so there, everything like say the user is doing a small filter, or the user is putting a search parameter or something like that. So for each action, we used to go back to the database and fetch the results. The filtering used to happen in the database because for each user action, we wanted to show the latest data. So when you're going and hitting the database for each and everything, there will be obviously performance hit. But here, the importance is to show the latest data, not the performance. So in this case, it's totally okay with not working on your performance. But say you have some fixed data, like for example, coming back to our to-do list. So there is nothing like fetching data from database or something. Once you have fetched the data, yeah, you have the latest data. You can handle, you can improve on your performance, make it as much as efficient in the UI itself.
Yeah,
So it all depends upon the project goals.
yeah.
I just wanted
I
to say
think,
this.
yeah,
And there's also like one more thing is so as Ananta explained very well. So it depends on what your company needs. So because end of the day is like you have to like companies monetizing that product, and like there's a lot of financial things going around. So you have to deliver it so user can onboard, and like it's just a financial thing. So you have to deliver so that financial things also keeps on going and don't get stuck on creating the or making the thing perfect, single thing, working again and again on one thing. So yeah, but yeah, it all comes down to one thing: what you want, your company wants. So like, what's the requirement of your project?
yes, 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 yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Rajiv. You explained it really well. And thank you, Ananda, for adding the points. And this is the whole point of the discussion, guys. I think Naeem and Ayaz are joining us for the first time, right? So when anyone is discussing anything, and if you have any points to add, or if you have any counter argument or counter opinion on it, you can feel free to add it on there point and then express your views and how do you look at it differently, right? And yeah, so I think we're left with Naeem. Yeah.
I am new here and I
Yeah,
got
now
to
we
know
can
about
hear you.
Retro from my friend. So I
Mhm.
just joined. I've been on Discord. So I thought that let's join and see what happens in this meet. So I
Mhm.
just joined for the first time, and it's nice hearing from all of you. And I'm a fresher right now. I'm searching for a job right now. So I'm
Mhm.
learning from different people, going for different meetings, job searches, like that. So yeah, this one also was one of the new experience for me.
Okay, okay. So I assume you've not really contributed and worked on a project as much, right?
I've been working on my own projects. Like I am making full, I have just made a full stack project on my
Okay,
own. And,
okay.
I just had an idea and I thought that let's solve this problem. There was a
Mhm.
problem. I thought that going in my area, so I thought that let's solve this problem, and I made an app out of it. Like a
Yeah. Okay. So can you help us to understand what are you actually building and what are you trying to solve and the challenges that you're facing so that I think Rajiv, Ayaz or Ananta could help you if you're facing any challenge or help you recommend any resources that would help you just deliver a project or work on a project in a better way.
Okay, so I have just completed my MVP, like the main project that you can say that this is the working project, like minimum viable project product. I just completed that. So my project was to like we have prayer in Muslims. We have 5 times prayer, right? So every mosque have their own prayer in prayer
Mhm.
time. So it's very difficult for normal people to remember the timings of the mosque.
Timings, yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah. So I just thought that let's make an app to solve the
Mhm.
problem. So
Mhm.
I have worked on an app and made an app out of it. I can give you a link on the chat.
Yeah, sure. I think you can also
It
drop
was
the
a
link
really
in
good
the
use
community
case,
chat.
Naeem. There is a very good use case. You it should be some kind of reminder, right, for
Yeah,
the
and
time of
it's
the azan, right?
no. It's an only time of the namaz or the prayer, not the adhan, because I've just started
Okay.
and I took 2 months to build this app with user and admin pages so that
Mhm.
the user can itself uh, uh, manage the application. Like
Acha.
one must have their own user who will update the time at its own time, and the other users can see that time. And admin will be the user who will decide who will be the main person to manage each mosque. Like if you give me a request, I am admin, so I will be the one who will decide if you are okay.
Proving it,
You
right?
are yeah. I will check if you are right person or not, and then I will accept you for my app. Like this is the link of the app.
Yeah. I think, Naeem, you can also post the link in the group if anyone wants to review it or if you want any help with any queries that you're trying to solve. So, right now, what is the major challenge that you're facing working on this project?
So I just thought of I have 3 main pages in my app. Like every user can use that page. So this is the feature of bookmark. Like the bookmark is like when you can bookmark an mosque and you can visit it even if you are on offline. So the problem that I face that if the user comes again on the app, so how will be he will be able to see the data that was updated? Like if you have bookmarked an app, so the data will be saved on a local storage, right? So if you are coming back after some time and the data is updated from that month, so you will have the old data. You will not be able to fetch the new data. So I am facing this problem. How to solve this problem?
Yeah. Any recommendation, guys, on something that you would suggest Ayaz or Rajiv, Ananta?
So it's hard to say like openly, actually, without knowing the flow, I would say.
Okay, I think we can do one thing, Naeem. You can post this in our Ask the Community channel. right? Or the group projects channel. So you can post it in both of that and describe your problem, what you're facing, and like that, people also can open your link and see the project or anything that you're explaining, right? And then they'll be able to give you a better suggestion on something that you've been working on. I think orally like this, it's going to be a little hard for people to understand and also like give you a recommendation on stuff. I think you can connect with Rajiv or Ayaz on Discord, and you can discuss the problem, and they could help you out with whatever you're facing the challenge with.
I have made an group video to explain the app. So if anyone wants to see what does this app do fully, I have recorded every part, every functionality in that YouTube video. So you can use it as a reference.
Yeah, sure. I think you can post that in the group and just post everything like the project you're working on, the challenges that you're facing, and then something that you would like to have, and you would like to have people to help you with. I think that would be amazing, right? Okay, that's amazing, Naeem, and we are very glad you're working on your project. You're building up your skills, and if you want any career opportunities, I think we also have a job opportunities section. Do check out that, and if you find something useful for yourself, do reach out to that. And if there's anything else, then we are more than glad to help you out with.
I have one question for all of you there. So if like you are all experienced people, so how should I go in my job search? Like I have made a project, I have something to showcase. So how should I proceed next? What to do? If anyone can guide.
Okay. Anyone? Ananta, Rajiv.
So you're currently working now?
No, I am searching for my passport.
You're done with your BTech?
Yeah, I am done with my degree. I have computer
Okay.
engineering degree.
Computer engineering. So if you're a fresher, right, what I would recommend you is start applying for all the portals that you see. Don't think whether it's a service based or whether it's a product. I told this in last time also, but don't think about the company. Just apply for it. I'll tell you why, right? See, even I have now 4.5 years of experience right now. When recently I did a job change, I know I wanted to go to a product based company, but that did not make me stop for applying service based companies. The reason is it's not, say for example, you found a very good company which you want to join for sure. How do you guarantee yourself that you'll be able to crack that interview?
Yeah.
If that is your first interview, it's very difficult. So
Yeah.
the reason you should not reject any companies, even if you're experienced or a fresher, just apply for it. If you're getting it, there's no harm, right? It's an experience for you. You get to know the kind of questions they're asking you. So it's going to be experience for you. Once you have the, say for example, you have cleared it, then you can definitely, try to negotiate whatever you want. But with respect to how to crack down itself, the interviews, as you said, you have made one. I am actually looking at your app right now, what you have made. It's pretty good. Maybe there are some navigations which are missing. But yeah, what you can do is all these kind of projects that do help you in the interview perspective. Say because I'll tell you, right, one of my experience. So I wanted to showcase, the interviewer wanted to actually ask me multiple questions. But when I told him about one of the app that I had made recently, so the interview did not even ask me any questions. The whole discussion was about the project itself. I was just talking about what all I did. I was showing him the code implementation. So there was some feedbacks in between. They asked me, why did you do it in this way? Why not that way? So it'll see, based on this interaction itself, how knowledgeable the interviewer will come to know, right? So that is one thing. And there are a lot of portals. What people usually do mistake is they'll just go to LinkedIn or Naukri. There are only two websites people think and only apply there. That's not true. There are a lot of websites, and you can apply in different websites. For example, there is something called InstaHire. You can apply in that. And the reason I say to apply on different portals is the famous portals. What happens is the alert system is really good there. Say someone posts a job offer on LinkedIn, within one day they have 200 applications. say if you're 201 person, there's a very high chance that the HR will not even look at your resume. Forget about shortlisting you, because they may have found the candidate they want in the top list itself. So if you go for the new upcoming, job portals, what happens is the traction is very less, but there are some good companies there as well, right? So that is one thing I would recommend you say. Don't think about survey phase or something. You are just starting your career. Getting a job at the as a fresher is very difficult. Once you have 1 year of 2 years of experience, it doesn't matter. Then you can easily jump to whichever company you wanted. So don't keep high expectations on first company. Even if it's an internship for 6 months, do it, because once you have experience, you are no longer a fresher. You are an experienced person. So that opens up whole lot of opportunities for you.
So I have 9 months of internship experience. So will it be count as an experience or will it be negligible?
Yeah, definitely. You can say you have 1 year experience, guy. Nothing is wrong. So if as long as you're able to explain what you have done in the internship, right? So it's an experience, correct?
Yeah.
So Naeem, I am from Wipro, so I can suggest you one thing. Like, since I also got into Wipro by giving that exam by the name National Talent Hunt exam, which is run by Wipro every year. It is for off campus placement. Okay, so you can try to give that exam. It will really help you if you are. I guess you are good at DS Algo, and since because seeing your app, it looks like you are somewhat familiar with the technology. So you can give that exam, and it will be easy for you to crack the interview.
I have given that exam after
Okay.
graduating. But what happened that the interviewer came, he asked me two simple questions and then he was gone. Like I was waiting for him for about half a day and he was gone. He told me to wait and it was very bad experience for me. And after that I got rejected.
Wipro's image is somewhat down in nowadays because of that moonlighting issue and some other issues were there, but you can try to apply. That's how I got into Wipro, and currently I'm in a good condition. So yeah, that's what.
Sure. Okay, I think we have another new member, Devang. Hi, Devang. Can you, I know what you do and everything, but can you introduce yourself to people who are listening to you for the first time? What do you do,
Sure.
where you've been working for, and how long have you been working?
Sure. So, team, I have joined the community very long back, but due to some urgent works at my end, I was not able to join few previous sessions. Even today, I got stuck in some production deployment part, so was not able to join on the time. Sorry for being late. I'm Devang Pipalia. I've been working in Python as a backend developer. I have worked in ERP systems. I have worked since 4 years. I'm working with Docker as well for generating the environments using the Dockerizing the whole application or whole stack itself. Apart from this, based upon the interest, I'm doing different R&Ds, other part of learning as well. I don't have hands-on experience on React, but I have given some trainings and completed 3 or 4 client projects with the freshers team as well. So I'm looking for some more exposure in React as well. And
I think you're in your best place because
right
I think sorry, I was saying, I think you've joined at the right time because most of these people are working on React itself. Sir Ananta has been working in React. Rajiv is also working in React. And I think Ayaz is also a React developer, right? I think it would be great if you could connect with them personally. And if you have any doubts or anything that you want to know under that, these people are having good number of experience under working in the same framework. Right. And to give you in context of what is happening over here, Deva. So we're discussing about the major projects that you worked, what were the learnings, challenges, and your key takeaways from the projects, and how do you meet the deadlines and everything around that. So we kind of finished with everyone's experience. And I think now that you've joined, we'd love to know yours. So Devang, do you have any major project that you worked and with your 6 years of experience, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And can you name any one major project that helped you grow exponentially? And what were the major challenges that you were facing, and how did you overcome that?
Sure. In the beginning of my career, I came to like work in one of the product. It was in-house product of like server monitoring. You guys might have heard the name of Nagios or Datadog. It was similar to that. So I joined as an Android developer, and environment was not developer friendly. Like we are not supposed to talk with another developer or another department unless it is required. But somehow managed to complete my initial task, and then I came to know about like project is going in very dangerous situations and all. Gradually I talk with developers, talk with seniors, and optimize the on the SQL part, optimize on the code part there. At that point I was having like 2.5 years of experience, but by reading online documentation, blogs, official statements about the different frameworks and all, I came to know about many best practices that we can follow. And I have seen the drastic change in the performance as well. Like earlier it was taking the data from Python, then sending to PHP, and then to mobile. The whole process was taking around like 3+ seconds to get the data, which I was able to reduce around like 600 milliseconds. That is like fifth portion of like 20% of the time. So there I came to know about the best practices that we can follow, that we need to follow. Actually the style guidelines, whatever the language of framework are saying, are actually optimum way. There are many also things I have come to know about, like people are instead of using the default or built-in library functions, they are creating their own solutions, they are reinventing the wheels. But I have gone through some source codes and found out actually that whatever code we are trying to update is way more optimized and written memory efficient inside the library itself. So there is no shame to use any default built-in functions and libraries if they are performing better, but you have to have an understanding. So I'm also going to agree with Anant as well, because whatever Anant says, I have started my career with some startups, not any service based or any product based company, which is a big one. I have joined like 4 people in the company at that time. So there is a lot of learning came step by step, but the major thing is you have to have an experience. Okay,
Yeah.
going through the videos or blogs and reading the DSA will not help you. You have to practice a lot in that. So before you are going to jump into your target or dream company, okay, you have to know much of the about them, like how much they are care about the different technologies or principles they wanted to follow. And if you practice about them, you will come to know about much of the corner questions. As Anant was also explaining, there are uh, many times they trick us. Even at my age also, I'm tricking some of the junior levels or senior levels people with some simple concepts like string concatenation. I make people confused and they get confused itself. Okay, which is very basic in strings. I'm taking interest of Python, but there are some concepts. If you go through different languages, you will find the same as well. It's just the syntax are getting changed. So concept clarity is one of the most important thing. I have come to know about like 5 to 6 major projects, and all those projects has given me some good knowledge and shape in my career itself. So those things give you the additional highlights of your functional knowledge. Functional or domain knowledge is also most important. If you have crossed the 3 or 4 year of experience, then you should also get to know think about that as well. Functional knowledge includes like if you go about recruitment process, okay, how recruitment process works. So somebody is creating the resume, applying to some jobs, okay, and at the same time job has to be created first, okay, then and only somebody can apply. So this is a domain knowledge. Somebody cannot apply first and then another party can create a job. This is the wrong path. Okay, so in this way there are so many different industries are going on, like medical industry. One of the good project I have done in banking sector. Actually that was not banking sector. There is a concept in Brazil that you can buy some goods, some items, you provide some down payments and you can pay later, but you don't have to pay to bank, you have to pay to some finance company which is running there. and that company is running the same system across 3 to 4 different countries beside the Brazil. So it's a kind of like loan management from like some personal financial services. So you purchase some furnitures, you make 20 or 30% of down payments, and rest of the amounts will be converted to interest and all. I was working in the ERP system with this project, and this project is going to have like 60 to 70 calculations in their final report of monthly payments or weekly payments and all. And the query was like 150 lines of the single SQL query was there, out of which 140 fields they were showing, 140 columns they were getting the data. So they have done some tables they have joined to get some data. There is a concept in joins in SQL, if somebody knows. So their joins was not good enough. So it was taking like around 50 plus seconds. And I optimized that part by experimenting some of the data, by changing some of the lines and checking the performance, putting the timers. I was able to reduce to like 15 seconds to get like 10,000 of records. So I'm not a database expert, but by trial and error, I have learned myself. There are many projects came in my life. Even when I was there in my academy, I have dreamed to work in one of the big tech companies like PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, or some other companies were there. And last year, I got a chance to work in PepsiCo as well. So your dream will definitely be true. Okay, never stop dreaming. Okay, focus on your dreams as well, but on the same point, focus on what is required. Some companies require basic understanding, some require strong DSA, some require system designs. There are many things that are going to be there. So first of all, make your base clear about that. Okay, understanding the requirement is one of the most important part. That's how you get your technical knowledge stronger. Once you have technical knowledge stronger, you should also start focusing on functional requirements. That will definitely help you to land your dream jobs as well.
Yes. Yeah, one good thing about Devang is I don't have to follow him up with a lot of questions because he literally explains everything in a really good manner. And I was about to ask, what were your key takeaways from the projects that you worked? But I think you have kind of answered that, and you also answered half the name questions when he asked how he could get started with his first job or the first company, right? And I'm really happy to have you over here, Devang. I think that's pretty much from my side for your questions. Anyone have any questions for Devang, like Ayaz or Naeem or?
Devang, hi. This Ayaz this side. So how can I get into fan? They generally ask DS Algo questions, but I'm not at all good at DS Algo. How can I improve on that part?
Practice. Go through the concepts, try to understand the concepts, and practice a lot. That's the only thing. Even I had some of the part in my initial days. Then I came to know about so many other things, that how DSA is much more important on all those areas. Because normally people think on the solution part first. Solution in terms of the syntaxes, which syntax, which loop I need to include. Okay, but no one goes behind that algorithms or those particular parts. For example, I can run a for loop to get 5 inputs, and I can write a 5 if conditions as well with indexes of 5 elements. But for loop is much more efficient way because you don't know the length. Okay, in if condition, you have to know the length. So these are the basic concepts in DSS, and those things you have to make sure you are clear about that.
Yeah.
Which language to prefer, C++ or Python for DS Algo?
I prefer actually both, because different languages gives you different clarity as well. So if you want to be accurate master of DSA, I would ask you to go through 4 different languages: C, Python, JavaScript, and Java. Because
DS
all of the
Algo
4 gives you most clear understanding.
DS Algo can also be done with JavaScript. I have no idea about that. Like
it's about the concepts. Okay, see, syntaxes are different. Okay, in Python, how we can swap the values with one line: a comma b equal to b comma a. But it's not same in C and other languages, right? So sometimes to understand the problems, okay, it's just a syntaxes that needs to be changed. Like 1 plus 2 plus 3 becomes the same as 1 plus 3 plus 2. But if you combine the number 1, 2, 3, it is lesser than 132, right? It's the only difference. So concept understanding is required, and sticking to one language will not give you a better opportunity in pseudo coding and all. Sometimes language going with language specific gives more clarity as well. Like Java has very much derived data types in terms of data structures, which Python or C doesn't have. Sometimes in you have to create your on your own as well.
Okay, okay, thanks. My question got answered. Thank you.
Yes. So yeah, I think
Sorry, Tim, can I just get one more minute? Actually, I'm going through some process of documenting as well. I just need one more minute, okay?
yeah, sure, sure.
I'm here, but I just need one more minute.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty much from the questions and discussion part. And before, I think Devang has asked us for a minute. And after that, I think we can wrap up. So besides that, I just have a quick question for you. So Ananta, yeah, you've been the part of the community for a very long time, right? And you are also one of our contributors, and you are actually helping people around. So, what is the one thing that you like about the community, and one thing that you want us to implement that we are not there yet? So, what would these two things be?
Sorry, the first question was what do you like? What was it?
So, what is something that you like in this community, so that is that helped you, or that I'll help you to like maybe help other people around, or something around that? One point that
We can
something that you like about the community, and one thing that you would like to you would like us to implement on something. Yeah.
Sure. So the most interesting part of the community is there are different channels, and any doubt you have, like you have a channel for that, and you can go and ask. You usually get a response very quickly. I mean, recently I asked someone about the resources to learn about Spring Boot, and I got really good responses within no time, and they were really useful for me. And I mean, I think I asked it around 2 weeks ago, and today I was able to demo something to my stakeholders using the knowledge that I learned there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So if for freshers they have the channels for resources, for resumes, job opportunities. So this is one thing I like about the community. You have any doubt, you have a channel for that, you go and ask it, you get a response. I like it very much. And the moderators, of course, you and Rashmi also both are very active in tackling with the questions that the community asks. So that is what I like about it. If you ask me anything about improvements, I'm not sure exactly like what kind of improvement I want to suggest you, but it's been very useful for me. Using recently, I took up one of the mentor sessions with recently. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I don't want to tell about those things, but yeah, the mentorship also happened, which was very useful to me. So in that way, like you're doing it. And recently, you wanted to take up new initiatives regarding the coding stuff like that.
Yeah,
That might be really challenging because you have a wide variety of audience here. But yeah, we'll see how
it goes. Yep. And we're also very happy to have a active and member and a contributor like you, who are actually helping people voluntarily. And that is really less in the developers community, I guess, when you come forward and you try to talk, you try to help out people. So yeah.
So one of the solutions, if you want, like not solution, it's more of an initiative that you can take up maybe. So this was done actually in one of the other community I was part of previously. So what they did was they took a survey of asking people who are interested in doing open source, and they asked whether do you want to be a moderator of the open source project, do you want to be a contributor, or you just want to come code and go, are you that kind of a person, and the technology stack that they are having. Once they had that data, they created a list of topics on which open source project can be done, and they divided the groups. They made the groups on all that stuff, and they gave a certain number of days to work on that. And maybe at the end of the day, all the teams came together, demonstrated what they had done, on the problem
Yeah.
statement given. It was
Yeah,
kind of a hackathon, but it was for people who did not have a team and they wanted to really do it.
yeah,
Something you
yeah.
can think of. It will be really good.
Yeah, I think we are actually working on an initiative with Dikshan and Ankit, I guess, around the group projects. But yeah, I think this is also a good idea. And yeah, I think that's pretty much for this session, guys. You almost stuck with us for almost 1.5 hours. I don't want to drag this more. And we're very glad that Ananta, Naeem, Devang, and Ayaz joined us, and also other people who kind of Rajiv and Saurabh, right? So thank you so much, and I'm not gonna extend this any longer because you guys are stuck from the very beginning of it, which is 1.5 hours. And I'll look forward for your guys' participation in the next meetup. Do join in, and if you want any topic for us to discuss in the next meetup, do ping me on Discord, and I can get that to you in the topic of discussion for the next meetup. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend, and thank you for joining.
Thank you,
Thank
team.
you.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.